Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel for our Saturday craft day with Kraftgali. Today I am pulling out this Lawn Fawn set, Fortune Teller. This set is adorable, so cute, and so I thought I would have a lot of fun with it, with galaxy and just kind of whimsy. So it was a blast. So let's get started here. I have the set and I have this Lawn Fawn iridescent sort of like a watercolor iridescent mix. And so I'm going to show that a little bit later on. But here's the stamp set. Super cute sentiments. We have, let's see, I predict your day will be. I see great things ahead. And then stuff to go inside the circle. Really bright, super duper, filled with smiles and very happy. So that's sort of like the predictions that you can make. And we are going to start by making our background. So I have these Arteza Gouache set. This is a 24 set of the gouache, which I find personally to be plenty. Lots of great colors here. So we're going to come back to the actual gouache after I make my background. I did a gouache review recently on my channel, and I used the same Hero Arts background to play with these watercolors. And I think it was just kind of stuck in my head. Also, I thought it would go really well with the fortune teller theme. So this time I'm going to show you the full galaxy background all the way to the end. Taking some Versamark sticky ink, I am going to stamp this out onto some Arteza 140-pound watercolor cardstock. This watercolor cardstock can take a beating, I will tell you, a water beating, because I put so much liquid on it and it does not warp hardly at all. So loving that. So on my glass media mat here, I'm going to place down a pink, a blue, what I thought was a purple but turned out to be a blue, a yellow, and we're just going to get some really nice mixing there. I'm going to spritz my watercolor cardstock because, as you saw, I heat set my background with some white embossing powder, and this way I'll get that emboss resist and those stars will kind of pop up. So I'm going to just place down a whole bunch of different colors. So if you're curious about what gouache is, it's in a nutshell. It is a medium that is somewhere between acrylic and watercolor. So it's opaque, but yet it works beautifully with water. So it's really fun. It's very nice to play with because it goes down. You don't have to put a whole bunch of layers down on top. You can get a really nice pigment. You can also thin it out quite a bit and get a much lighter look. But I have been really enjoying it. Plus, I've been really having a good time on this watercolor cardstock from Arteza too. So I think you would be pretty good, though, to just try out what you have first. I am not a huge advocate of getting the humongous set, particularly because if you have a bunch of mediums in your house, it's just more stuff, and I think it could be overwhelming to use. Now, that's just my opinion. I know other people have said they really find great use in having a lot of them, and so if this is definitely, if that's your bag, do what you gotta do. But for me, I am finding that the more mediums I have, if it's a lot, I'm feeling too overwhelmed to pull them out. I know that sounds kind of weird, but anyway, I wanted to show you here. I went back over all of that color with the iridescent Lawn Fawn sparkle, and I just put a little bit on my mat and then just colored and painted over the color. And so it gave me that really nice iridescent. This, my friends, is what happens when you re-ink your Memento Tuxedo black ink pad. You get a perfect image the first time. So that was super exciting. All right, I'm going to move into coloring here. So I've pulled out my Ohuhu alcohol markers. This marker set is a 120 set that I got off of Amazon. And I have a color chart for it. So if you're interested in that, you can always email me, and you can find my email in the About section over on my channel. I really like these markers. I think one of the things I like about them is it's 120 markers. So it's kind of like a full set to get you started. It's a great set for beginner alcohol marker colors, and I would consider myself probably like, what are the levels, right? So you have like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and kick butt Copic color. I would have to say I'm somewhere in the intermediate range. So I'm practicing, I'm learning, I'm having a really good time with the markers. I wish that I could afford an entire set of Copics because they are like the Rolls Royce, right? But at the same time, I think it's not the marker necessarily, and I'm using air quotes. I think it is the type of nib that you get used to. I am used to a bullet nib. So for me, it's much easier for me to color with a bullet nib. But I do have brush markers. I have master markers, and I do like them, especially for large images. They color beautifully. They're very juicy. They're awesome. So I think that that's what I started with. That's kind of what I've gotten used to. I started with Spectrum Noir, and they're a bullet nib. And so that's just, here I am in Ohuhu bullet nib. Arteza is a bullet. Ohuhu did come out with a brush nib, though. And I have to say, so you all know, some of you probably know I'm friends with Courtney Kreber, and she is a kick butt Copic colorer level. And she tried out my Ohuhu brush markers, and she was like, those are really good markers. And I was like, whoa, Courtney approved. So they really are great. The problem I have with those is that they don't have enough of them, in my opinion. I think it's like a 48 set. So they really need to increase their inventory, like fast. And I also think they're on back order, and they have been for a long time. Okay, back to the card. I pulled out a little circle die because I am going to go through this really super thin but amazing galaxy paper that I have. I think it's so pretty, and you can just look at it. I mean, you can use this as backgrounds. If you do that, I would recommend a very, very thin layer of glue because the paper is super thin. I put a white piece of cardstock behind that just so it would cut through both of them. And I'm running it through my little prism die cut here. And I'm going to then have the paper. See, what I did was I cut out the little, what is it? It looks like almost like a star on that galaxy background. And I cut that out to be the future, what's that called? The crystal ball. Because I thought that looked most crystally. So I'm going back to my background here, and I'm going to use some Distress ink in the black soot, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of that background. So watch what I do when I wipe this away a little bit. You bring out those stars, and they make them bright again. This background from Hero Arts is a go-to of mine because I think it makes the perfect background. There's dots, there's stars. You don't have to think about it, and it's good to go. Although paint splatters are super fun, this is much faster and less messy. I heat emboss the sentiment that says, I see great things ahead. And I'm just going to trim that down because I'm going to make it really thin. It's going to go right at the top of my my panel. I'm using foam tape to pop up the crystal ball as well as the sentiment. And I'm going to lay down the image flat onto the background. So I was really happy making this card. I thought it was so much fun, and it was really quite easy. I used some sparkle pen over the crystal ball. The lighting here that you see and the lighting in the pictures does not really show the actual the starlight look in the crystal ball from the paper that I used. You can't see it, but in real life you can definitely see it. And so that's kind of disappointing when you're making a card on video. I noticed that when I got to look at a whole bunch of cards recently. I was like, because I got to see two crafty friends of mine. They brought a bunch of cards. We were looking at them, and it's like, man, these cards, the videos do not do these cards justice. But yeah, it looks just like a white ball right now, but it's not. It looks like a starry ball. Okay, so I'm going to use some art glitter glue to put down my panel onto a black mat and then onto the card base, using some Neenah 110 Solar White for the card base, and this card is finished. Thank you so much for stopping by and for checking out our project today for Kraftgali. Don't forget to head over to the shop. really great stuff in stock. There's a new Lawn Fawn release and lots of other embellishment goodies over there. So check it out. I will list everything I used below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.